Okay, good morning, ladies. It's good to see you all. We've got the chat going. Awesome, just double checking. Excellent. All right, thanks for that, Julia. Okay, ladies, we are number 3 session in our mindset sessions. And today is called Wealth Attitude for Gratitude. So what we've done is we've taken you on a little bit of a journey to look at the stuff that's in your way. So we started off with the fears and clearing them. And then we looked at the things that in and around that next sort of like after fear usually comes the guilt and the shame. So we've looked at an activity to work through that. And so now what happens is we start to really clear up and create a foundation for building our mindset around creating that wealth mindset and the behaviors and the mindset around being more wholesome in our business as a person. So before we start, what I'd really love to do is jump on with somebody very quickly, because I'd love to hear how your experience was with the forgiveness letter. So just a little bit about writing it and then burning it, and then of course like the week afterwards. Would really love to know somebody's experience with it. If you just want to chat, type in the chat box and let me know who'd like to jump on quickly. Or if this is a bit slow, does someone put their hand up? Okay, thanks, Lexi. All right, Lexi, I am unmuting you now.
Awesome.
Okay, good.
Oh, I'll volunteer.
Thank you.
No worries. So I after burning it, it's actually, I think it's the first time I've ever burnt a letter like that, which was just awesome. Like, it was a really interesting experience for me, because it's something that I've known about since I was a teenager, but I've never actually done it.
Okay.
And I'm just going through shifts like day by day at the moment. It's really interesting. I've got so much resistance coming up, but there's this part of me that just keeps going, no, I'm not succumbing to that. I'm, going to keep forging ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because I probably could do some more journaling around it, because I really liked that process. I also did I listened to Sophie's call the other night as well, and just the process of journaling I'm finding really helpful at the moment. So I probably need to do more of that.
Yeah, no, that's great. I love too that the highlight there is that you've known about it since you were a teenager, but actually doing it.
Never done it.
That's right. And I think many of us have done that. It's with lots of things. We know this stuff, and what happens is in our knowledge, we say, yeah, I know that, I get that, yeah, that's really good. The difference and it's the difference in any of us moving through any of this, it's your accountability and your actions. It's always those two things. The minute you take action, there is a reaction in the environment. So you put it out there and things start to happen. When you think of, like I said in our first session, the brain is very much a recorder of experiences, memories, beliefs and knowledge and those sorts of things. It's like you've got to go in there and remember in the 80s when we used to tape a song off the radio and you tape over it again? Yeah. Yes. For those of us that can remember the 80s, it's exactly that way. So what you're doing is you're allowing yourself to do something, feel the experience of that, acknowledge how beneficial it is, and then your brain goes, I want more of that. Because that's one thing the human brain does. When it gets a tick, and that's why I'm setting these little tasks, and I highly suggest that you do them, because it's in the doing of them. And then you've got that week or that 2 weeks in between that you start to apply it, implement it, and you get the feedback of it. And then your brain really wants to start to shift. So that is the importance of doing any of these activities. It's about allowing your brain to align all its consciousnesses. Like there's 3 of them. And the consciousness that we often run our daily doings is that is that conscious mind, which is the last to know. It's always the last to know. So you do want to start planting the seeds in the subconscious so that they start to sort of, you know, flourish, and then you're actually starting to do that as a new behavior. So that's great. I love to hear that. So thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Lexi.
No worries. Yeah, it definitely feels like I've opened the door for lots of other stuff. I'm just getting more and more and more.
Yeah, fantastic. And the thing is, you could actually revisit this, and especially if you're going to
Yes.
use the journaling at the moment, once a month, because what happens is it's a little bit like if you step in a muddy puddle, and you know how all the mud gets, you know, like then the water goes murky, and you'll sometimes have a leaf that comes to the top. We've got to get rid of that before we can start to get a clearer picture on what's there. So sometimes you've got to get rid of some stuff, and then other stuff will come up. So just keep using that process.
Cool.
Because it's really, really beneficial.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, excellent. Thank you very much, Lexi. All right, I'll pop you on mute again. All right, thank you. So if you haven't done that yet, I highly suggest that you have a go at that. And also, I'm going to remind you along our time together that we might do it not necessarily in a session again or to share it, but I'll just prompt you to say, you know, like it's been a couple of weeks. If you feel another letter would be beneficial, do that, because I know that after a couple of times, it really starts to shift stuff for you. All right, I'm going to jump into, before we start, the actual sort of wealth attitude for gratitude, I'd like to start with a process that once we do this, please come back and visit the recording again. But once we do this on an unconscious level, you'll be able to do this on a conscious level, and you can do this whenever you feel a little bit of overwhelm, or you want to get some clarity before making a decision. And it's basically called the clearing of the now. All right. So it's one of those activities that I'll get you to sit comfortably in the chair that you're in. Take a nice big deep breath, and when you're ready, close your eyes. Only take a couple of moments to do this one. All right. Very good. So what I'd like you to do is just take a nice big deep breath in. Really deep breath in, and allow it just to exhale very gently. Another nice big deep breath in. Allow that too to release from your lungs. And one more nice big deep breath in. Releasing that breath and relaxing comfortably, sitting in your chair. Okay. And what I'd like you to do is just imagine, like when we're at school and the teacher would draw a timeline up on the board, and it would show you, say, from 1888 through to 2019, just a line that represents a timeline. And what I'd like you to do is imagine that timeline as representing your life. So at the beginning, just imagine the year that you were born. Imagine that line to run through, and in the middle of that line is the now, which is today. And then the line runs off into the future, wherever that may be. What I want you to do is to look at that timeline of your life, and I want you to focus on the now in particular. And this is just a space, and I often have a dot at the beginning, a dot in my now, and a dot in my future. And that space in and around your now, I just want you to notice how big your now is. And with your hands, I'd like you to show me how big it is for you right now. Okay. I'd also like you to notice what is in your now? So what is it that's in your now? And just trust your unconscious mind. Good. I want you to notice too how it's all organized in your now. And now notice that your unconscious mind can start to organize what is in your now. Putting the like with the like, the family with family, work with work, and so on. That's right. And just let me know with a nod of the head when it all seems as if it's organized into its likes. Good. Now I'd like you to allow your unconscious mind to notice what is in your now that isn't really a now thing. For example, that thing that you're going to do later today, it may be better in the future. And that thing that you just did before coming here, it may be better to put it in the past. So now I'd like you to notice that your unconscious mind can organize and transport those things in your now that belong in your future and past, and put them there in your future and your past. And then as your mind very quickly does that for you, I'd like you to nod your head when that has happened. Good. Very good. Now, I'd like you to go into where you store your future and notice what is here. Allow your unconscious mind to now organize the things here, putting the like with the like, even organizing the near future and the distant future. And this can happen easily and effortlessly, hasn't it? That's right. And let me know when this is all organized with a nod of the head. Good, very good. Now I'd like you to go into where you store your past and just notice what's here. Allow your unconscious mind to now organize the things here, putting the like with the like. Again, this can happen very easily and effortlessly, hasn't it? That's right. And let me know when this is all organized with a nod of the head. Easily and effortlessly. Very good. That's right. So now, knowing that your timeline is all organized, I'd like you to come back to the now. Noticing how big your now is, I'd like you to show me in your hands how big your now is. And what I'd like you to do is slowly bring your hands together. And until they come together, take a nice big deep breath in. Come into your now. Very good. And when you're ready, take a nice big deep breath and open your eyes. Okay, very good. Now that was a very long version, but you can do a very short version just consciously whenever you like. And sometimes it's just about going and consciously bring the now to now, okay? So yeah, that's a really good tool to have. All right, let's jump into gratitude. All right, so this is a really great topic because before we get into abundance and manifesting, once we've cleared some of the murky stuff, it's about now starting to exercise your muscle of gratitude. And so I'm not too sure if any of you have ever done any of the thank you work before, because what often happens is somebody can give us a compliment or they tell us something that they see that's really great about us. And what we can often do, and what people will often do, is say, yes, but. Or, yeah, but you don't know that I haven't had my hair done for 3 weeks. It's like we want to discount what they've just said because they may not know. Like we know that that they might comment on our hair and we'll just say, oh, I didn't really do it that quickly. It's like we want to sort of get in there to announce our flaws before anyone else says it or sees it. And it's like we can't even let in that compliment, because we're just not used to taking compliments. So this is going to be part of a gratitude building from the roots up, and then from this week on is going to be things that I'm going to keep adding, which will be a bigger piece of gratitude. But what we need to do is start to realize that when we are in a unresourceful mindset, what will happen is we go into safety, security mode. And if we don't have it, the first thing we want to do is create that safety and security. So what we do is we go to scarcity mode. I'll just hold on to everything. I'll just do what I'm certain of. I'll think about the stuff that might happen. And that then puts our brain into the lane of scarcity. And so I'm going to go back to the concept of our brain having two highways. One's going to be abundance, one's going to be scarcity. When we want to be safe and secure, we often go into scarcity mode because we want to go into that risk management. It's about allowing ourselves to find a way where we can safely and securely put ourselves into abundant mindset when we think there's nothing there. So to start right at the beginning, what I'd like you to do, without talking too much about this concept right now, is have you write down at least 5 things that you either think or you say regularly that would indicate that scarcity mindset around your business. And after you've done a few that are business related, you can also put in some more personalized or intimate thoughts, beliefs, behaviors in around a scarcity mindset. In saying that, it's also going to be those things that you say that are things that you would see as your weaknesses or your downfalls or the quirks that you have. For example, I'm tired of being a people pleaser, or I'm always responsible for things. It's like those things that you say that you really take on the belief of being responsible for everyone and everything, being the people pleaser, not feeling that worth to ask for a certain fee for your services or your product. So it's those things that you say regularly, think regularly, that you know aren't really fulfilling you. You feel it. You really feel it in your gut when you say those things or you think those things, and you know it's not really fulfilling you. It could be in and around some belief systems like money. So growing up for me, money was seen as for the people who did things that weren't quite legit, or people were greedy if they had a lot of money. So if you grew up with a certain mindset around money that had those sorts of lack beliefs, if you feel that you live a lifestyle of keeping up to others' expectations of you. So have this really be a really wide scope of those thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that you have that take you into scarcity or fear mode. Okay. So Tony, can I get you to pop on for a second? You've popped in a remark there. So I'm curious. With your I allow myself to enjoy my holiday without guilt. Is that something you say regularly?
When I was filling in the form, I really I wanted to put myself first and go, look, I don't want to have any guilt around just sitting by the fire with my family and a glass of wine. I didn't want to be judged for it. I didn't want to be, on a health kick, or I didn't want to be on, I should be working. I just let myself enjoy it. And it was so freeing. And I burnt that friggin' piece of paper and it was awesome. So funny that when you were also doing that thing there, the 4 that I was writing down was so much self-doubt, not good enough, can't do it on my own, I haven't done this before, it's just all that, like what Sophie calls the itty shitty committee in here,
Yeah.
Yeah, completely.
Can I have you do something really quickly with me, because it's really great when we can demonstrate. Now you're going to really feel this, and I'm going to give everyone else the opportunity to have a go. But what I'd like you to do is choose 3 of those things that you just wrote down, 3 big ones, three ones that you might say, think, or feel quite a lot. And can you share those 3 with me now?
So probably the first one is I keep saying about the business, it's only a part-time thing. It's not paying the mortgage, actually it's taking money out of the mortgage, so that's one. And then I've self-doubt, absolutely, was another big one. And, I'm not good enough, I'm just faking it kind of thing. It's not, I'm pretending to be a businesswoman,
Okay. So with that last one, can we take that one for a moment? And what I'd like you to do is say it in a way that, so say those words again that you just said.
I'm pretending to be a businesswoman.
Yep, I'm pretending to be a businesswoman. Let's go with that for a minute, because that's going to mean lots of different things, and it means it for you. Whatever pretending is, whatever the, what is it? We get that, what's that syndrome that we get? That's a fraudulent, what do they call it? It'll come to me. But it's that fraudulent feeling. I'm not a businesswoman. I don't know everything yet. I haven't established that. It's got a whole lot of stuff of beliefs that come to it. So say that sentence again.
I'm pretending to be a businesswoman.
I'm pretending to be a businesswoman. Here's what I'd like you to do for me. Say, I'm pretending to be a businesswoman, and I love that about myself.
I'm pretending to be a businesswoman, but I love that about myself.
Okay. Close your eyes for a moment. Could you say that again for me?
I'm pretending to be a businesswoman, but I love that about myself.
Take a nice big deep breath, and this time I want you to believe yourself when you say those words.
I'm pretending to be a businesswoman, but I love that about myself.
Okay. So I'm pretending to be a businesswoman, and I love that about myself.
I'm pretending to be a businesswoman, and I love that about myself.
And what I want you to do is say that again a little bit slower.
I'm pretending to be a businesswoman, and I love that about myself.
Okay. Nice big deep breath. I'm pretending to be a businesswoman, and I love that about myself.
I'm pretending to be a businesswoman, and I love that about myself.
And in your own time and in your own pace, can you say that again for me?
I'm pretending to be a businesswoman, and I love that about myself.
Nice big deep breath. And one more time, a little bit slower. I'd like you to say that again.
I'm pretending to be a businesswoman, and I love that about myself.
So I'm curious, Tony, tell me, what do you love about that?
I love that it gives me the freedom to be at home with my daughter, choose my own hours.
What do you love about pretending to be a businesswoman?
I love pretending because I don't have to put any particular labels on it. I don't have to show the degree on the wall. I don't have to, have the sort of business suit. I'm just making up my own rules.
Love it. All right. So what it is sometimes when we start to have these bits that we disown, because that's not good to do. That's not good to pretend. I've got to be the businesswoman, right? So stick with me on this one.
Yeah.
When we start to love the bits that we disown, it's like that prodigal son. We bring it back into the family. We bring it back to the heart and we go, okay, I love that about myself, that I'm pretending to be a businesswoman. What is it that I love about that? Well, it sort of allows me to not have to really show up and be that part or look at the part or have the bits on the wall. And that sort of gives me, I can dabble here, all right? I can dabble in this. I can do it, but I'm not really the businesswoman, so I'll just pretend. So it's acknowledging that it plays a part to pretend. It also gives you an awesome starting point. Because now what happens is when you become grateful and you start to love that disowned part about you, you actually then start to get a bit clearer on, do I want to be a businesswoman or not? So you start to mindfully make the decision around whether you do or you don't. And then when you make the decision, you can get clearer on the path. If you don't, then what you do is you get clear on how you create a hobby. And what you do in your mind is you only give it a hobby attention. Whereas if you say, I'm a businesswoman, oh, but that's going to mean, at least what it does is it starts to allow you to go, it means I need to do this, this, and this. I can choose to do this, this, and this, and this is how I would start to do those things.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
All right. So I'm curious now, when you say, I pretend to be a businesswoman, what are your thoughts and feelings on that at the moment?
I feel more positive towards the thought about it because now I can just own it, and say, I actually like pretending because I don't have to follow your rules or your rules.
Okay. And this is another big sort of insight here, is it doesn't matter how destructive or how negative the thought processes are, it's usually feeding us. It's feeding us. We are getting a secondary gain out of it. So you guys have invested in yourself here. So what I like to do with these sessions is really have you own your stuff, because it's not about saying it's a bad emotion, it's a bad thought, it's a bad belief. It's what I'm thinking. So how can I embrace it? Because it's serving a purpose, but then how do I empower it to move me forward? Because I'm here and I'm invested with people who are going to guide me along the way that I'm not so great at, right? And this is exactly what I do. I know that to be real about this, and anything I share with you ladies is because I've done it, the minute you start doing this, it allows you to put a different light on things. And how empowering has that made you now to own that part and to now work with that moving forward?
Yeah, that's great actually, because one of my biggest fears was actually saying out loud, this is my business now. This is what I do.
Yeah.
I have to own that I'm the plastics lady.
Yeah, exactly. And it's got, it doesn't have a lid that stays on it. This mindset of yours, right? The lid goes. And we'll try and replace it, but the lid won't fit. So what it's about doing is about create the container that can just morph however you need it, and it's always going to have a lid that you will manage. You'll be able to find the lid. You can put the lid on that container. You're creating this metaphorically in a whole different way, so that you'll start to own this because, and now I'm glad why I shared with you this morning that I'm the type of learner that I knew what you did, but I really didn't look into the bits and pieces because I'm a kinesthetic. It probably wouldn't have been until I was in the room with you and saw them and went, oh my gosh, is that how it works? So we've got to cater for those sorts of people around us. But if our mindset is going into defense mode all the time because of what people might think and what they might say, we're not focusing on what we want or working out what we want. We're trying to counteract 10 other different ways of seeing things. So that's why it's super, super clear that we do this work and we get clear on who we are and the way we are thinking and how we can move forward. The next step after that is how we take it into the world, but it's really about us getting clear on this. Tony, perfect. Has anyone else got something that's a little bit different? And just so that we can get a bit of an example of a different thought, feeling, behavior, that you can have a go at trying this on, and we can show the others the shift that it can make. Imposter syndrome. Thanks, Lexi. I knew. Love it. Does anyone want to put their hand up to have a go at this very quickly with one of theirs that they wrote down? Yep, excellent. Thanks, Julia. I'm just going to unmute you now. Perfect. All right.
I wrote, I've been extravagant with my money in regards to what I spend on my business, on courses, supporting my growth. So I feel as though I've been overly extravagant.
Okay, so let's define that over extravagance. What does that mean to you? What does that mean about you? What are you making that mean about you?
That I've been too focused on myself.
Okay, so to be too focused on yourself, what are you making that mean about you?
That I'm disregarding the rest of my family.
And what does that mean about you?
I'm selfish.
Okay, see how easy is it for you to say I'm selfish? And be honest.
It's difficult.
Okay. So what I'd love to do, and thank you, Julia, because I'd love to use this as like what I call a coaching moment. This is for the benefit of everybody as well as yourself. Remember, I've talked about stories. We'll have a story that filters through what's at the cause of it. And because if I was to say I'm selfish, that has a meaning, a belief, a value around it that I've created from however. And by the sounds of things, it sounds like it's a negative thing to be selfish, right? I'm curious, what do you think, or how do you feel about the words of being self-centered? What does that mean to you?
Arrogant.
Okay, all right. Self-care.
Love it.
How does that? Right, you love that. All right.
Yeah.
All the same, but different. It's just that some words say selfish and self-centered, and I think it's very traditional in those words have often been used to describe people who are going out to get something at the cost of everyone else. So what you can do with these, and this is why I like to break this down, because I know each of us will do this with different words, break it down to know, is this word serving you or isn't it? So if that word of being selfish isn't serving you, you can do one of two things. You can look at redefining it, or you can look at naming it something else that still gives you the highlight and the benefits of actually self-care.
Okay.
Because in investing in yourself, what you're doing, this is so aligned with our module around sales, is that one of your values, and I'm going to just put it out there, is security.
Yeah.
And that value, to be secure, is financial security, right? So if you're fulfilling that value of yours, which is security, and you're doing it financially, what are your thoughts about that?
Empowering.
Right. So before, and this is why I wanted to check in with a couple of you, because some of the words that you use, and this is where I want you to check in with me during the week if you want to in Messenger, I want you to make sure you have clean, crisp words, because if we're doing these activities and you're using words that trigger you underneath, you're not going to fall in love with it because there's too much of an ingrained deep belief behind that. So find the word that serves you better. So the self-care around your security is around your financial security.
Yeah.
If that empowers you, what's a word that you can call that? So when you're focusing on self and focusing on self, financial security, financial independence, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
What could you call that?
Empowered as well.
Right. Okay. So then what we'll do, and there's a couple of sessions down the track that we'll do in and around belief systems, I'd love you to pull in empowered. So what I'd like you to do now is simply use that, which is more now in a more positive connotation and highlighting of I want to, I am empowered and I love that.
I am empowered and I love that.
Okay. Again, take a nice big deep breath and close your eyes. Say that again.
I am empowered and I love that.
Take a nice big deep breath and say it a little bit slower this time.
I am empowered and I love that.
One more nice big deep breath and one more time at your own pace and in your own tone and style.
I am empowered and I love that.
And when you're ready, take a nice big deep breath and open your eyes. Okay. What are your thoughts? What are your insights? And how do you feel at the moment about that statement?
I feel it touches on some of the changes I've been beginning to make. And it's certainly a lot more uplifting than holding on to that past negative belief that just keeps me,
Yeah. So it's also knowing to, sorry, Julia, I missed that.
No, it also just keeps me from going into that negative spiral.
Sure. So sometimes parts of these unowned parts, it's about bringing them in to know, are they serving? How are you serving them? How can I change them? Or are they ones that I can lovingly let go? So yours, you could bring in, look at it differently and really own it because it's quite empowering. So to refine it a little bit more, specifically in and around the investments that you're making in yourself, and you're investing in a couple of different courses, which are significant investments. What are your thoughts around that now?
I feel good about it. I'm excited. I'm excited that I've stepped into that. So I feel good about that.
So look at what you wrote on your piece of paper a couple of minutes ago. How does that resonate with you now?
Yeah, it does. I don't feel connected to it.
So do you want to cross it out?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, symbolically, we really want to, we're re-imprinting things when we do these mindset sessions. And so now what I'd like you to do, and you can put it all under empowerment, but the thing is we still need clarity around that.
Okay.
Perfect. Beautiful. Thanks, Julia.
Thanks.
Would anybody, while we're here, because I've made the time for that, who would like to give this a go in real time with me now? One of these things. Nope. Okay. Yep. Felicity, you do? Okay. Where are we? I'll unmute you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. So I was trying to have a look and do, because I had those same feelings as, with Tony about the business, and then I've had those same feelings with Julia as well about spending too much on the business and we've taken a lot of our savings. So I feel very guilty about taking money away from the family.
Mm-hmm.
So I think then one of the other things for me is because I'm rewriting the scripts now, but I don't have, even though I've done photography for 20 years, I don't have a photography degree. So that, that script is someone going, well, you're not a qualified professional, you can't then charge that, or you're not then worth that. Those little, things, even though I'm qualified in a number of different areas, I feel like I have to justify in a way what I charge or why I'm charging that, or and it's not like anyone said anything to me yet. It's always like you've got that script there ready for when someone you feel like someone might challenge you, so you feel like you've already thought about it a lot. And because that's obviously my feeling is that, you know, that's why I enter awards for credibility, so that I can like prove to people, well, even though I don't have the degree, I've done years of study, I've done this, and this, I just don't have the physical degree. So I think that, not having that like the paper.
Yeah, that's perfect, Felicity, because the thing is that's something that I'm going to touch on with a couple of things, because that's very complex, that one. And many of us share that, because have you got an iPhone at all?
No, Android.
Android. So when you got your Android and you bought your Android, did you go through the instruction book to work it? No. Why is that?
Just figured it out. I hate instructions. But that's me. Like my husband will read all the instructions, and so he will do it first time round, whereas I will like have a tantrum and a hissy fit, because I'm a kind of person who doesn't necessarily, I'm quite anal, but with some things in life, I don't want to read instruction books. I don't want to get bogged down by reading something. I'd rather watch a YouTube video on how to work it and watch someone else who's figured it out first rather than read.
Yeah. And how many courses, how many books did you read when you were having a child?
Oh, none.
Okay. What about now for parenting?
None.
Right. Okay. It's only one aspect of things.
Yeah.
And so what it is, it's very much part of a very traditional way of being and thinking. So our society and our way of working had a framework that said you needed to do this, this, and this to make sure that we can say you are qualified to do this. All right. So unless really in this day and age you are a brain surgeon, unless you're working with NASA, unless you're in something that really has some foundational must-have-dos, the rest these days, and this is what I really want you all to embrace, you are part of a movement at the moment. And we are part of the leaders for the next generation of children who they are not even going to go to university. Our learning and development is changing so quickly because a lot of that knowledge is 100 odd years old, if not more. So it hasn't really, like our schooling hasn't changed. The curriculum's quite the same. It's just that modern teachers will start to do it differently. So it's like a mindset around an old set of beliefs that we were brought up to believe, think, and do. You have to get to this level to be seen as being able to get to the next level. You have to get to this level to be seen as being qualified, as being this. And this is part of that imposter syndrome that can come in. Well, if I don't have a six-figure business, can I really call myself a business person or a successful business person? You know, if I don't dress a certain way. So that qualification is yet another one of those beliefs that becomes a lid. Now, that is an attached lid that we want to lose, that many of us share. So this is going to be a process of doing this, even though I want to do this activity with you, Felicity, and for everyone else on the call or everyone that listens in the future, is that it's going to be a process because you're going to be changing an ingrained belief that's come through generations of, you know, we have to do a certain qualification to be able to do something. So my question is, and you've already answered it, is who has actually asked you for those qualifications?
No.
Right. So when you focus on the gap and what's not there, and this is what we do in lots of things, if we focus on what's not there, we're not focusing on how to fill that gap, we're just focusing on the gap. And what happens is when we focus on that gap, we see, hear, and feel more of it. So when people aren't asking you about your qualifications, I'm sort of going to guess that sometimes in conversations, you might even bring up the fact that you haven't done any, you know, qualifications. Do you ever share that with people?
No.
Or you don't? Okay, all right. So it's just that internal dialogue that will be going. All right. Yeah. Because some people actually will say that verbally in their conversations. Oh, look, I'm not qualified, so look, I'll do it for this fee, or I'll let you look at it and see what you think. It's like we discredit and disown that and disown ourselves. What it comes down to is the self-worth. So if we bring this down to a self-worth value, what is the feedback you get from your work that shows the quality, and I'm going to say the quality of the work that you do?
Yeah, I get from my clients and my friends and my family, the feedback is great. And, you know, I've not heard negative feedback, and my clients will regularly message me about, you know, things. And yeah, so I haven't had negative feedback or anything like that so far.
What do you need? What proof do you need to feel qualified, whatever that word might mean, in the art that you are doing?
I think time. Like, even though like I've done it for a certain period, for me actually it's like working towards being accredited with like the AIPP, just to have that, you know, like a lot of us do work towards like these accreditations and this and that to, you know, and even though the general public don't even understand what any of that accreditation even means.
Yeah, all right.
I'm asking for it because generally people are going to you because of word of mouth. The work, they go to a certain photographer for a certain style, you know, and everything like that. And I do focus on it a lot in my business about that I'm a qualified children's registered nurse. So that is a large part of my qualification in case it gets, you know, brought up.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bottle that, because that's going to be something that I'm going to bring into this actual session that's going to work on that part of it. But for this activity, I definitely want to do this activity with exactly that. I am not fully qualified, and I love that. In saying that, what I want to highlight, because you've brought it up now, isn't it interesting how you can easily highlight the qualification that you do have in child nursing? Because, see, that gives me my credibility and significance. So that's real. Yeah. All right. These are parts of our personality that we are feeding. We need to feed certainty. We need to feed uncertainty, which is variety. We need to feed significance. We need to feed love, connection, growth, and contribution. These are 6 core needs that we have to feed. It's whether we're feeding them success, like unresourcefully or resourcefully. That's the difference. So I'm glad you brought this up, because I'm sure there's many of us that share that same concept, and it's deep down under that whole imposter syndrome. Definitely a big thing. So it's a perfect example to use for this activity. So what I want you to do, and why I ask you to say and instead of but, because I'm going to share little bits along the way. Clean language is to be very direct and clear with your conscious mind of thinking. The minute you say, I am a photographer, but I'm not fully qualified, as opposed to, I am a photographer and I'm not fully qualified. Feel the difference in the charges of those 2 ways of saying the same thing. What we do when we say but is we discount. We consciously and verbally to others discount what we've just said. So whenever you say thank you and then you say but, you actually discount what that person has said. So always remember to replace buts with and or yet. Okay? And that could be something, Felicity, that when we do get to that point, if qualifications mean that it's, you know, because some of us do have associations that we want to, it's about what you want, all right? You might discover that it's actually not what you want, because you might think that's what everyone else wants to see, right? So that we'll play with. But for this particular exercise, what I'd like you to do is say, I am like however you want to say it. Actually, you tell me what you wrote down and we'll refine it.
Where did I go? Oh, I just, so I think I just wrote down, trying to find it, too many notes. Just that, you know, I'm not a qualified professional photographer. So then I was just trying to change the internal script to saying, you know, but I am, you know, I am a professional.
Yeah. So I am a professional photographer.
Yeah.
And I'm not qualified.
Yeah.
I am a professional photographer, and how can you say it? I want you to say
I feel
to me.
like being not qualified, like altogether for me, is just like making it a point of it. Like I'm happy to own it,
Yep.
but I feel like
But see,
I'm like, oh man, this like, yeah.
I want to fully own it, but
Yeah.
so therefore,
like,
let's.
I want to own that I'm not qualified in that area, but I almost don't want to. It's not saying. I don't want to.
What I want you to do is tell me what is it that you want. What is it around that being not qualified? What does that? What does that mean?
Challenge me. That someone might challenge me when it comes to, I think mainly like pricing, and can I charge that much?
Okay. So if you do get that pushback and they're challenging your pricing, what does that mean about you?
It doesn't mean anything about me. It's about them and their value.
But what does it mean about you though? For them to question you and say, oh, it's not worth that, what does that mean about you?
I don't know, because I feel like if they're saying it, it's how they see it, not how I'm seeing it.
So how is it that you're perceiving them to see it? Stick with me on this one.
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting a bit lost.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not.
So if someone was like, but you're not qualified, so.
Yeah. So if you've just told me how much it's going to cost to work with you, and I say to you, oh, I'm curious, what qualifications do you have? And then you'll say.
So I would say, I've been working as a photographer for 20 years. I have 13 years experience as a pediatric nurse. I've done multiple
I'll just
studies and courses.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even what you're saying, and that it's not flowing, but even in saying that, because I'll cut this to the point for you, is see how you'll say all those things, but I know that inside you know that it doesn't align to being a photographer as such or qualified. Okay. So what we want to do is really own that part. And there definitely are things that you can say that you have accomplished and established, right, without going there. There's definitely ways we can do that. But I want you to own this bit for a minute, and then I'll check in with you. So I want you to do is say that I am a professional photographer and I'm not fully qualified.
I am a professional photographer and I'm not fully qualified. Okay. When it comes out.
Right. Okay. So let's bring it in and cuddle it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Take a nice big deep breath.
I am a professional photographer and I'm not fully qualified.
Mm-hmm.
I am a professional photographer and I'm not fully qualified.
And I love that about myself.
And I love that about myself.
Okay, say it all as one line.
I am a professional photographer. I'm not fully qualified, and I love that about myself.
Okay, close your eyes, connect to that, and say it like you mean it.
I am a professional photographer. I'm not fully qualified, and I love that about myself. Yeah.
Can the rest of you hear how that just changed? She got rid of the "and," right?
Oh, did I?
Yes. So now I know you're ready to own it. I want you to one more time take a nice big deep breath. I am a professional photographer.
I am a professional photographer. I'm not fully qualified. I love that about myself.
One more time, nice big deep breath.
I am a professional photographer. I'm not fully qualified, and I love that about myself.
And just one more time, I want you to breathe into your chest area because I actually want you to love this bit.
I am a professional photographer. I'm not fully qualified, and I love that about myself.
So what do you love about it?
I own it. No one else can take that away from me. I own it now.
So once you own it, that's when you can move forward with it. Okay?
Yeah.
That's, I can hear it because I hear the difference in what you emit in words. The thing is, that's what I want you to play with. I want you to play with it, because there's going to be one thing that I want you ladies to take through your week or next week's until we see each other again, to actually own it. Own it, be with it, and love it about yourself. And then when this moves through, and this, for some of you, it can happen in 5 minutes. Some of you, it'll be 5 days. Some of you, it's 5 months, because there's layers to it. You own this one thing, and when you feel the shift, you just want to start nailing these things. You'll go through your list and you'll do one a week. It really becomes a very empowering, you know, as Julia used, it's very empowering to work through these things. All right. Thank you, Felicity. I thought it was very, very important that we did. And what was awesome is that the 3 of you gave us 3 flavors of something very different, yet I know that each of us relates to each one. Okay, and it's very important that as we learn these things, that we adapt it to our language, our thoughts and feelings. And that's why I want you to use that question sheet, or even inbox me or in the group. Let's share it in the group so that we can work this. We're here to support each other, and I'm definitely here all the time. So let's start to really work now that we're starting to build the foundation. All right. Okay. Awesome. Very good. Okay. So what you would have heard, and this is very much in and around how we can love it, because gratitude is really ultimately like love. It's love. It's loving something. So when I played with this activity, I really started to then, the more my brain started to acknowledge and love things, it really started to become grateful for the little tiny things that happened. So to go out to the clothesline and there was a nice breeze, and I could smell, like I really love smells, and I could smell the fresh fragrance through the sheet that was drying. I don't know, it just made me stop for a minute and really breathe it in and be grateful. Like Tony said, is I'm creating a business lifestyle because there's things I want to be able to do at home in my own time. But while I'm doing it, if I become grateful for those little things, I want to do it more. So can you see how it would really drive me to want to build that business even more because of what it gives me? All right. And so in each of those things that we just shared then, could you hear a lot of buts? A lot of buts that just naturally want to come out. So it's like, I really want to love money, but I think that people are greedy if they got lots of money. I really want to be a businesswoman, but it might mean that sounds like a lot of responsibility. So see how we pull ourselves in 2 separate parts. So the next stage of owning it is about bringing those 2 parts together. So remember when I was talking about the dysfunctional emotions that we have, and we might have that fear, but we really need the other part for it to come together. It's about bringing this together holistically. This is what I want you to do with these things that I really want you to start to embrace, love, and be grateful for. So this is another activity that I'm going to do where I'll do it as a group, and you can go through this activity. What I really think is very beneficial for this particular activity is if I do go through it very quickly with somebody, because you'll be able to hear the sequence, and then you can do that in your mind when we're going through it as a group. So I just need 1 more volunteer, and then I promise no more volunteers for the day, who would like to go through something that's called a parts integration. If anyone wants to pop their hand up, or Lexi? Oh.
I was going to say, I want to get Jasmine up, and I'll look after Barb.
Oh, that's right. You girls are together. Jasmine, hello. Hang on, is that wanting to?
Yeah, there we go.
Hello.
Oh, perfect. Hello. That we were just talking before. We didn't know whether you were together or. All right.
Oh, yeah, we're here in the same house.
Well, hello. How are you?
I'm
all right.
So
Perfect. That's awesome. All right, Jasmine. Thank you so much. So this is something that's going to be a parts integration. So with did you end up doing a list before as well?
No.
Okay, all right. So what I'd like you to do is just think about something that's pretty much on your mind quite a lot that gives you a bit of a, I'm going to say a disconnect with your business. What is it you're thinking, saying, or feeling quite regularly that is disempowering you?
You know, to be completely honest, the one thing that goes through my mind all the time is I can't. Just that I can't. And I can find a million reasons why, but I can't do that. I can't do this. You know, I can't. When I know I can. There might be, you know, I've got a client that I'm working with at the moment and I'm writing a blog. And it's super easy because she's worked with an SEO consultant. So I've got all my keywords. I've even got my headlines and a template. And I keep telling myself, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. When I know I can.
Mm-hmm. Is that part of your, so is that part of your business and what you do?
Yeah. So I'm a copywriter and content marketer. So I know I can do this because I've done it a million times. I guess I feel like I can't at the moment though, because of my situation with Bub, because I don't have time for anything at the moment. So I'm not sure if it's something I'm telling myself or it's more just situational at the moment, because I'm pretty confident with my business. And, you know, I heard everything you were saying before, and I was saying to Flick, you know, my whole corporate career, I was of the mindset, I'm going to fake it till I make it. And I would walk into every boardroom like I owned it. I would speak to every executive like I knew their secrets, you know, because they're just people, they don't scare me. Drug dealers scare me. People in suits do not. So I totally get that. And that's how, you know, I'm pretending to be a CEO every day, and I love that about myself. And I really do. I'm really confident with all that shit.
So imagine then, Jasmine, imagine, and Tony can relate to this too. Imagine if, because you do, like we're in that space, especially corporates and professionals do that whole fake it till you make it. As long as you look the part, as long as you, as Tony was saying, if I'd have to dress the part, look the part. Imagine if you just felt the part. So when you feel the part, the other bits will happen. You'll dress a certain way, you'll do certain things, but then you can also turn up in your pajamas, but you'll feel it and you own it. And it's like that thing that people say is, you know, people might not remember your name, they don't even remember what you wear, but they remember how you make them feel. And so my specialty in corporate spaces was to go in and get them to connect and feel like that leader that they were showing up and looking like and sounding like, because they learn how to speak that way too, right? But imagine if you could absolutely, wholly and solely feel this running through your veins, right? So the story, and I'm saying this very respectfully, 3 kids down the track, there is something to consider around time when you have a baby and when you create your business, all right? The thing is, imagine saying, but I can't. So what was your little one's name?
Robbie.
Sorry?
Robbie.
So
Robbie.
Yeah, ROBBIE?
Yeah, short for Robert.
Beauty. Is he your first child?
He's my second. I have a 15-year-old as well.
Oh, okay. But still, hey, you forget so much. So in so many months' time, Robbie's going to start pulling himself up to get up on things and do different things, right? The minute he pulls himself up, and I know you've heard this before, but I want you to hear it a bit differently right now. The minute he does that, and you will know that his legs haven't really built the strength in the muscles. He hasn't quite got there yet, but are you going to sit there and tell him you can't do that, Robbie, so don't do it?
No way.
Right. What is it that you are going to do? You're going to highlight what he can do. That's good. Pull yourself up again. Because you'll know the little steps. What we do as adults is if I can't do it and I can't do it perfect right now, then I can't do it. If I can't make the time now, and you know, because at the moment, Robbie is your absolute priority. He's your everything. So it might mean that you need to just have that conscious awareness around, here's my 80%, my business is 20%. Could be a 70, 30%. It's just get conscious about that, because then you can let go of that. You're not going to take anything away from what you have committed. He might be 95%. But what it does is it gives you permission, and it allows you to fully give him, say that 80, I'm just going to go with 80%, and business is 20%. So with my 20% in business, how can I do whatever it is? So if we take that concept of you, so is it proofreading the blog or actually creating it?
Oh, creating it.
Creating it. Okay. So let's look at that. So is that a big thing for you at the moment, that if you were able to flow with it, it would be something that you could fill your 20% with, that will have you build income and get your business momentum?
Oh, definitely. I've locked in the contract for $2,500 to do X many blogs over, and she's been so great. I said I can only do one a fortnight because of my baby. So
Okay.
I've got the time. I need to stop stressing out, you know?
Okay. All right. So let's take that in a simple concept, and it's the blog. To do it or not to do it. Okay. So the can't of not doing it and the can of doing it. All right. We're going to go with a very simple concept like that to bring it together. So what I want you to do is, if you can, just for a couple of minutes, is get comfortable where you are, because I really want you to focus internally, and you'll be closing your eyes with this one. All right. So close your eyes and take a nice big deep breath. All right. So what I want you to do is focus for a moment on this problem. All right. Now, I'm going to say it very generally, but I want you to really connect with it for what it means for you, what you think, and what your ideas around it are. So writing a blog for you is part of your business. The thing is, there is an I can't part of this and an I can part. What I want you to do is think about that blog, and I want you to think about the bit that you can't. You can't do it for all the different reasons. What I want you to do is, I just want you to unconsciously hold up one of your hands, like a palm of your hand, as if something's going to sit up on it. And just show me which hand that is. Okay. All right. So what I want you to do is hold that hand up there with your palm up.
Oh, like really hold it?
Yep. And what's going to happen here is, I want you to imagine that there's a bit that can sit on the top of your hand there, and it represents I can't write this blog. All right. And it's actually it's a thing that sits on your hand. And I'm curious, what does it look like?
Oh, I just pictured the words I can't in orange.
Okay. All right. Nice big deep breath, and you can lower your hand. Now what you're going to do is you're going to raise the other palm. And on here, it's the I can of writing the blog. And there's something that's going to form on your hand. And what's that?
I've just got the words I can bouncing around in yellow.
Awesome. Okay. I'm just curious, what hand do you write with?
My right.
Okay. All
This
right.
one.
So what I want you to do is bring up that left hand again of the I can't in orange. And bring it down in front of you. Okay. What I want you to do is, I want you to imagine that you're looking at those words, I can't, in orange. And I want you to ask it, what is its highest positive intention for you right now? I can't write a blog. Is it heavy or is it light on your hand as it sits there?
It's so heavy.
Is it smooth or is it rough?
Sweaty.
Is it light or is it dark?
Oh, it's dark.
Take a nice big deep breath and just look at it and ask it, what is your highest positive intention for me right now? So Jasmine, what's it saying to you?
I think the intent behind I can't is to make sure I'm managing my time in a way that puts Robbie first. I think that's where this comes from. It's just my intent to be a good mother. That's where this is coming from. It's from that, that fear that if I don't set aside enough time for my baby, then I'm not being a good mother.
Okay, so go into that, and its highest positive intention then is to
love my boy.
Yeah. And so when you're loving your boy, what are you doing?
I'm loving him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with him. I'm hugging him. I'm playing with him.
All of that come together. Its highest positive intention. What's it going to give you when you're doing all that and you've got all that?
Life, love.
Okay. Nice big deep breath in. Thank it for letting you know what its intention is. And now I want you to bring up your other hand. This is the I can. This is the, yep.
Yeah.
Take a nice big deep breath. So is this light or is it dark?
It's the same as it was before. It's bright, it's light, it's bouncing around on my hand.
Is it soft or is it rough?
It's soft.
Okay. So just connect with that. Take a nice big deep breath, and I want you to ask it as it's bouncing around, bright yellow colours, lightly. What's its highest positive intention for you?
Its highest positive intention is to achieve my goals. It's to one day end up in Italy or Greece with my family because I've paid for us to get there from the money I've made from my business.
So bring all that together, bring it all, because when you've done all that, what's its highest, what's it going to give you?
Enlightenment.
Mm-hmm. And what's enlightenment for you?
Calm, peace. It's there, everything comes together.
Because then what will that mean holistically for you when you have that whole peace, calm?
What will it mean for me?
Yeah, completely.
It'll just mean I've made it. I've done it. We're here, We're together. It happened.
And that at its highest positive intention for you, Jasmine, what's that going to give you?
Happiness. Fulfillment.
Yep. Blow it up even bigger, even more and more and more. What does it give you holistically, all round, complete?
It just fills me with love. It just fills me with love.
Okay. Nice big deep breath. Keeping your eyes closed. And what I want you to do is to acknowledge that both the I can't and the I can had the same highest positive intention for you.
True.
Which was love, right?
You're good.
The two. Actually, you're good. Take a nice big deep breath. And what I want you to do is these two hands you will feel want to come together. So allow them to come together. And as they come together, they create a whole new little formation in your hands. What does that look like?
It just looks like peace.
What does peace look like to you?
Water. It looks like a river.
I want you to sit with that, breathe into that, and take that in, because what you've done is you've brought the two halves together. Both have the highest positive intention of complete love. What's gratitude about? Love. They both play a part that's equally important, but now that you've brought them together, they can come together as a whole and move you through with your highest positive intention of fulfilling love. So what I want you to do is take a nice big deep breath and just allow that to actually move through your heart space. Sit in that space where it's got that special place within, and know that it's now whole within you. When you're ready, take a nice big deep breath and open your eyes. So Jasmine, I'd like to ask you something.
Yeah.
You've got a contract over the next so many months. What are your thoughts about getting that done now?
I feel good. I feel I can do this. I know I can do this.
Visually, what could you think about to keep you focused on that whole ultimate outcome of love?
So, two things, just in regards to the blogs, the things that I'm going to think about. I'm going to think about how this made me feel about bringing my can and my can't together and knowing that it's all about love. I feel good about that now. I feel good about that. And my visualization will be that river that I was just sitting in.
Perfect. Perfect. Your brain just gave you all the answers that you need to move through, right?
Yeah, it did.
Perfect. Perfect. Awesome.
I feel cool with it now. You know, I'm cool with this now.
Yeah, you are. Any of those things, yeah, and any of those things of I can't, I'm not, I'm shouldn't. So it's just the stuff that we haven't idealized yet. We haven't become conscious of. So it's perfectly what you've done. All right. Beautiful, Jasmine. Thank you. That was awesome. Thank you. All right. So, ladies, what I'm going to do is run through that like that process for you. And what I'd like you to do is you're going to have your own symbols come through. I'm going to say it generalized and slowly enough for you to go through the steps for you. Okay, so you don't miss out. You'll get it just the same. It's just that now that you've gone through it, like you've watched it, you'll understand how you need to really chunk things down for yourself. All right. In saying that, just be part of the experience too, and trust your unconscious mind will take you through this process just as it's needing to right now. All right, perfect. So when you're ready, take a nice big deep breath and get comfortable in your chair once again. And what I want you to do is just raise your hand when you are able to think of something that has the two parts to it. I want this, but this. I want this and this, though. So it's sort of like you know that it's the one thing that you want to make complete, that if it was complete would move you forward. But at the moment, it's pulling you in two ways. And then if you're really struggling with something, then just pop that in the chat box and I'll clarify it with you. Okay, so it looks like everybody has something. This will be a beautiful way to end the session. So once again, taking a nice big deep breath, you're very, very aware on how to do that now. Relaxing and getting comfortable. And I just want you to think about that problem state. Whatever that problem is for you right now that has two parts. Just be aware of it. See what you see, hear what you hear, and feel what you feel right now about this particular problem. knowing it has two separate parts to it. I want you to focus on one of these parts, whichever part you want to focus on first. And as you think about it, I want you to raise one palm up in front of you as if it's going to sit in your palm in front of you. And it's sitting on your hand. It's a thing. It looks like something. It feels like something. It might smell like something. And I just want you to become aware of if it's heavy or if it's light, if it's rough or if it's smooth. Is it bright or dull, big or small? And just acknowledge it, look at it. Now you can lower that hand, and I want you to bring up the other palm, and on the other palm you're going to have that other part. Sit up on your palm, and again I want you just to see that it becomes something that sits in your palm. It looks like something, it feels like something, it might smell like something. And I just want you to be aware of if it's heavy or light, if it's dull or bright, if it's smooth or rough. And just look at it, acknowledge it, and lower your hand. Now with a nice big deep breath, I want you to bring up that first hand that wanted to come up first before. I want you to look at that formation, and I want you to ask it very attentively, what is the highest positive intention that you have for me right now? How are you benefiting me? And I just want you to allow yourself to really go through everything that it says to you. As it starts to tell you what its highest positive intention is, I want you to think about, I want you to feel, what does that mean for you? To have this there for your highest positive intention, what does it mean for you? What is it going to give you? And let it really, really chunk up and up and up until it gives you the ultimate outcome. What is its most fulfilling outcome that it's going to give you? Take it up, 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 up. Breathe it in and allow yourself to really connect with its highest positive intention for your complete fulfillment of its purpose. Now what I want you to do is thank it and allow your hand to lower back to your lap. Now with a nice big deep breath, I want you to bring the other hand up. Again, look at this formation. Feel if it's heavy or light. See if it's bright or dark or dull. Sense how it feels for you. And again, I want you to ask this part, what is its highest positive intention for you right now? What's it going to give you? How is it going to benefit you? What does it want you to know? And allow it to really, really chunk up and up and up and up until it gives you a fulfilling, complete, satisfying intention. To fulfill your outcomes. And when you're ready, I want you to thank that part for giving you the learnings, the lessons, and the knowings that you need right now, because it's fulfilling your intention. Now, holding your two palms up and noticing that each of them play a part. Each of them have the same highest positive intention for you right now. And you might notice your hands want to come together. And as they do, allow them to come together. As they come together, the two formations become one. They look like something, they feel like something, it sounds like something. And I want you to really look at this now, because as it comes together, it gives you a new, holistic image that brings all those parts together. I want you to breathe in and allow that full part to come into your heart space and take the place within your knowing, that place where that sits for you right now. Breathe into it and own that wholeness. And when you're ready, take a nice big deep breath and open your eyes. And just be. And for the purpose of the group, is there somebody that would like to share that very quickly with us, their experience, what they found about themselves, what they found about that problem, and how it's going to help them move forward? Lexi, can I, because I missed out on you before, would you like to jump on quickly? Yes, yeah? Okay, cool. Thank you.
No worries.
How did you find that?
Oh, that was really good. I'm kind of getting goosebumps over and over at the moment.
Beautiful. What was your problem state before?
Yeah. So the fact that I want this to be writing this course, and I want, this program, and that I don't want to do it because it seems too hard and like I've bitten off more than I can chew, and yeah. So beautiful for your and not your but. That's perfect, because that shows me in your language that you've brought it together. Perfect. Yeah. And so, what was your experience between the two and bringing them together? So the highest positive intention for both was peace. So for me, it's so, like, it kind of went up through a few layers, but it's really on purpose for me to be delivering this course and to be an educator, even though I'm not qualified either in
yet.
aspects. I'm so related to that. Awesome. I'm qualified in some aspects, but not others, and I keep thinking I should be qualified in more, but which is the other side of things. But and both of them wanted me to have peace. So one, the side that is, me delivering this program, there's just being in flow and connecting with people and delivering, like serving is just amazing. That's like a state of peace for me. And then the other side, the not doing it, well, that's kind of shying away, and that's like a form of peace as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that kind of gave me the message that I really need to meditate more each day and just bring more peace into my life because I'm not experiencing that peace at the moment.
Okay. So at the end, what was your symbol? What come up visually for you when you brought them together?
So one was red and one was blue. So it was like this purple, beautiful, like ball in between my hands.
Perfect. So what I'd like each of you to do is whatever that end symbol was, I'd like you to visually have, so Felicity can have a picture of a river. If you can get a picture of a purple, even a purple circle, but a purple ball, like go and have a look at something that you really sort of connect with, have it visually around you for the next week. It's really important that you now create this visually around you, because what it does is it symbolizes all the bits and pieces. You only have to think about that visual representation and it'll bring it all together for you. It's a tool.
Great.
Julia, I've loved my experience with this. My highest positive potential was to be seen and heard, seen with visual branding as a designer and heard as a coach and mentor. The colors as well, white and metallic for design and purple for coaching. Perfect. So Julia, you're the same. You'll find it very easy. Bring together a visual representation so that you can use this for the next, like just week. I always say a week because we want to start getting this muscle built for you. All right. It's very, very important that we've unconsciously started to imprint things. Like they say, we have the answers within us. We do. So this space is created for you to bring some of those bits and pieces out. We have several different languages, and this is just a visual representation, but it's of what is happening in your truth, in your knowing. So to create this gratitude and this love, you now have this symbol to focus on. And because you want to bring these bits together, these are the parts that are going to help you move through perhaps one of the challenges and the blocks that you've had so far, because we want to be implementing this as you're doing like the modules, because the modules is what can I say? It's the structure, it's the framework, it's all the content. What we want to do is we want to create the beautiful flow and the theme and the flavor through it. Okay, so it's just not a bit of minute steak. We're creating the spices, the herbs, the taste. It's really important that we do that. Lexi, thank you so much. It was brilliant to have you go through that and share that with us. And Julia, thank you. Because what it does, and here's what's important, it's when we can hear others, they often reflect things within us, and it helps us get clear on our bits. And so what I want you to do for at least the next week is daily, and I'll lead because this helps me reinforce it with me, is that each day what we're going to do in our group is jump on, and there's 3 things that we're going to be grateful for. So if you want to, sometimes you can get a coloured background or whatever. I want this to be pretty, or put some emojis in it. And I want you to state 3 things that you're grateful for the day, or something that may have happened. So somebody might have given you some feedback, and it doesn't have to just be business related. I mean, it would be great that we put like business related stuff on there, but also if you go to the shop and you meet a friend and they buy you a coffee, I want you to be grateful for that, because that's something you've received and said thank you for. All right, I just want to start building this, because we're really going to build on the thank you a lot more in our next session as well. When somebody gives you feedback, I want you to say thank you. Even if internally you want to do a but, stop yourself and just say thank you. And what I want you to do is each day put those 3 things. So it might be, a friend bought me a coffee. So grateful for that. I could have got half price somewhere. Somebody sent me a great testimonial. I'm really grateful that I gave somebody my price and I just stayed at that price. I didn't discount it. So I want you to start to pick out the little bits that you can be, grateful for on a daily basis. I promise you, if you do this daily, by day 3, day 4, here's what happens. Your brain goes into such a space of loving the feeling it gets, of being grateful, but also acknowledging yourself in being grateful. That whole love starts to build. You start to really become grateful for the littlest of things that you don't realize happen to you all the time. and it starts to really percolate that mindset of being in absolute gratitude. Then while you're vibing at that vibration, you can't help but start to attract more of it. Hence, we'll be going into some manifestation in the next couple of sessions. All right. Today has been uber duper, like it's been jam-packed of stuff that you may not realize. You've done a lot of, it's like a brain aerobics class, right? So what I want you to do is really drink a lot of water today. We've done a couple of NLP processes. That always takes us in and has us click into parts of our brain that we don't always work with. And like a car battery, we need to keep it hydrated and on all sparks. So please do that for yourself today. If there's anything that comes up that you want to just chat through or you want to check in on, please either inbox me or let's go to the group with it. Because now stuff, the more you can bring it, the more you're going to move through it quickly. So this week's going to be very interactive between us all because we're all going to be sharing at least 3 things. And I promise you by day 4, you'll be like buzzing and you'll want to put 10 things. So if it goes beyond 3, by all means, please do that. But to start off this muscle, let's just start with 3 things daily. All right, and we'll keep connected. Thank you so much for today. It's been jam-packed. It's been fabulous. Like your input has been magnificent for today's successful session. And have a great week. Have a great afternoon. And thanks again for everything. It's been a fabulous session. Yeah. Thanks, ladies.
That was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, ladies. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.